Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg, we just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagined big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other, 1 family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit Breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
You don't have to understand the physics of flying to fly easy. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
Hi. For many years, I had to make tough decisions for my team and players. The decision for you is quite simple. If you have a house that is in need of repair, call my friend Dale. Dale buy houses. Recently, I spoke with Dale about my property. He gave me all of the do's and don'ts. He wanted me to be smart about the decision I was going to make. You ought to be smart too. Call Dale. He buy houses.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Clarence Buggs along with the coach at Scoreboard Sports Grill, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Coach, we start this week with some tragic news. Jaguar Nation mourning the loss of a legend, Isaiah Butch Robinson, Robert's son, dying in a car crash in Texas. Butch made a heck of a name for himself, not only at Southern, but with the Los Angeles Rams and the Buffalo Bills.
He certainly did, Clarence, and I could say that I was at Southern at the time Butch was there, and all I could remember how wonderful an athlete he was, and he was a scholar also, very intelligent, made very good grades as a student.
His greatest achievement may well have come off the field. After battling drug addiction, he went on to found Isaiah's House and helped hundreds of other young men overcome drug addiction and lead productive lives.
Yeah, and that's always a wonderful thing when you use a tragic in your life and turn it around to help other people overcome tragic in their lives. That's always a good thing.
Says a lot about the coaches that he had and the adult influences in his life coming up, didn't it?
It says a lot, and you know, I could remember Coach Tabor and Coach Flitroy and Coach Smith, and all of those guys, Coach Moody, all of those guys played key roles in developing Butch.
He also never forgot Southern University, serving as a recruiter in Dallas with the I Recruit SU program. That's love for your university, isn't it?
It is a great love. The thing that I remember also, Clarence, I might have shared this with you earlier, back in 1970, as a skinny, gangling little kid from Ventress, New Roads area, I'm out for the team, and there are other 2 great big physical guys, Isaiah Robinson and Harold Carmichael playing the same position I'm trying to go out for.
Right.
And believe it or not, at the end of the day, Emory Hine cuts those 2 guys to keep me. Oh, how could that happen? I don't really know.
But apparently he saw something, because you produced in that position before all was said and done.
Well, yeah, down the road I did get a lot better. Won a batting title in 71 and 73. And so obviously Emory Hines saw something in that skinny, gangling kid.
That 1969 team that Butch was a part of sent 10 players to the NFL. Hall of Fame cornerback Mel Blount, 6-time Pro Bowl linebacker Butch Robertson, 4-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Harold Carmichael, and 2-time Pro Bowl defensive back Ken Ellis, all on the same team. Of course, now, this was before full-blown integration in the NC2A, and the rest, as we say, is history.
Well, the thing that I remember about all of the names you mentioned, how caring they were, and they tried to help younger people come along and gave advice to all of us.
Right.
You know, and I said, you know, even though Harold Carmichael and Butch Robertson and I didn't play baseball together, but Harold Carmichael and I got to play basketball together.
Wow.
On the same team. And the influence they had over young people like myself is enormous.
You all must have been a terror, because Harold was what, about 6'7"?
6'8".
6'8"? Whoa. What kind of damage did the two of you do on the basketball court?
Well, he had big hands and he could do things. But
well, you don't have small hands either now, Coach.
Well, but I was a skinny little kid.
Okay.
Kid back then. And
right.
you know, but it's just wonderful, Clarence, to be in that environment that existed back then in the 1970s.
Yeah.
When so many, it was all about caring about each other. That's really what existed.
You talk about back in the 1970s. I remember 1969, a young pup, 5th grade. I'm selling cold drinks and peanuts in Mumford Stadium, watching Isaiah, Harold, and the rest. If I would have known then what I know now, I'd have paid a lot more attention to what I was blessed to witness. Do you think most folks back then actually realized the greatness that Southern was putting on the field at Mumford?
Well, a lot of those folks ain't with us anymore.
True.
But those who are, they do remember. Clarence, in 1971, I got to witness at homecoming at Southern when they played Jackson State with the great Walter Payton and Robert Brazil at linebacker. I thought it was one of the greatest exhibition of football that I've ever seen. And, you know, that's when football was football in this way.
Right.
I mean, it's a game that is going by in terms of us getting those kinds of players, but I got to witness them. That's one of the good things I can say.
Now, all of that is a part of the double-edged sword of integration, isn't it? We fought for the right to be able to attend any school we wanted to, but it also meant the HBCUs no longer got all of the black talent that the state and the nation had to offer.
Well, that's part of progress. I think, you know, if segregation had continued to exist, so many people would have been denied so many more opportunities.
Certainly.
And we can't just look at athletic and say, oh, we lost all of those good athletes to white school.
Great
I think
point.
You have to get beyond that. I'm looking at the totality of all the other people who've been able to go out and do great things to make America the greatest country there is.
Well said, Coach. Well said. When we come back, we'll talk a little LSU on the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Hi. For many years, I had to make tough decisions for my team and players. The decision for you is quite simple. If you have a house that is in need of repair, call my friend Dale. Dale buy houses. Recently, I spoke with Dale about my property. He gave me all of the do's and don'ts. He wanted me to be smart about the decision I was going to make. You ought to be smart too. Call Dale. He buy houses.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagine big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other, one family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit Breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
You don't have to understand the physics of flying to fly easy. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
My name is Dr. Ashley Blanche, chiropractic physician at Momentum Chiropractic and Sports Rehab. We are here to get you better faster if you suffer from any type of injury, ranging from sprain and strain injuries to nerve pain. If you have an injury and you have a question about it or want us to evaluate you, please give us a call at 225-218-6126, or you can visit our website, mymomentumcare.com, for more information about our services.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg, we just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Welcome back to segment 2 of this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. LSU hoping to wrap up the season with the Fiesta Bowl win against UCF. How important is a bowl win, Coach, as far as momentum for the next season and for recruiting with the nationwide exposure?
Well, I think it's important going into that because what they'll be doing is trying to implement probably a thing or two so they can try and see if it will work going into the 2019 season.
Right.
And so they're playing a team that hadn't lost in 2 years.
Correct.
And so that's interesting because Big O and his boys want to knock him off.
Yeah, it would seem particularly well suited for a school like LSU as far as the exposure is concerned, because the Tiger Nation travels well and they spend a lot of money on the road.
Well, there are advantages for them playing in the Fiesta Bowl in Phoenix because now you may be able to find a kid on the West Coast.
Correct.
You see, you're spreading your wings out a little wider to make sure that the exposure is there. And if you get a good kid from the West Coast, like it'll be a skilled kid probably.
Right, probably.
Because so many players out there, so you may find a skilled kid, a running back, a wide receiver, a defensive back.
Right. There's been a lot of conversation about the young men that are NFL prospects deciding to skip playing the bowl game to concentrate on getting ready for the draft. Can you rightfully hold it against the young man for making that decision, Coach?
You bet not, because they've done a lot for the universities.
Amen.
At that point. Let's be realistic. At this point, it's about the payday for those kids.
Right.
And when they decide to do that, you have to respect their decision. Now, teams that are in the hunt for the national championship, kids are not backing out.
Right.
But these other bowls, I have no problem with that.
There's also the renewing of the conversation that we hear just about every year, whether we have too many bowl games or not. Right now, we have 40 bowl games. Is that too many in your mind?
Not when it comes to the money that it generates for the communities and the colleges. I think that's what the NCAA had to, when they had to decide to go in football, decide with the playoff, they had to make sure that they preserve something that they created. Because when you start taking revenues out of communities, you got a problem.
Some say, though, having so many bowl games cheapens the value of the bigger bowl games. What do you say to that person?
Well, it has nothing to do with the bigger bowl games. Those games are for those people and those people in itself. The 4 teams that made the...
Because you still have the playoff.
Right. Yeah, you know, it's no big deal. I don't think it's cheapening it. I just think you're giving teams and communities and fans to come out and support their teams.
When you look at the fact that we have 40 bowl games, there are 130 teams that qualify or at least are eligible for a bowl. So 80 out of 130 are going to play. Bottom line, should a team that finishes 500 or just below 500 be rewarded with the bowl game?
In today's society, you better bet your bet, bottom dollar. We live in a society where everyone gets a trophy. Mama, boy, Johnny, little Billy, give him something. That's what we live for.
Well, when we come back, we'll step up another level and talk a little New Orleans Saints when we continue on The Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Little Billy, little Johnny.
You don't have to understand the physics of flying to fly easy. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
Hi. For many years, I had to make tough decisions for my team and players. The decision for you is quite simple. If you have a house that is in need of repair, call my friend Dale. Dale buy houses. Recently, I spoke with Dale about my property. He gave me all of the do's and don'ts. He wanted me to be smart about the decision I was going to make. You ought to be smart too. Call Dale. He buy houses. Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Beep, beep.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagine big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other, 1 family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit Breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
Welcome back for the final segment of this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show, actually next to last segment. Coach, Saints got back on track, beating Tampa Bay in a game that really looked bad early on. But that punt block by Taysom Hill seemed to change everything. Is that one of the reasons we love organized sports so much? Because just one play can turn everything around, change the momentum for a team that looked like they were just going all the way down the hole before that play.
Well, the thing that I wanted to talk about is that I watched the defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator. NFL is a copycat league.
Right.
They looked at what Dallas did to stop the Saints. And for 2 quarters, they did it.
Right.
But because the offensive coordinators and Drew Brees stuck to the plan,
right,
they were able to get things done and in the end break that game plan that Tampa had.
Of course, every Saints fan in the known universe was pulling for the Bears Sunday night to beat the Rams and put us back in the driver's seat as far as the #1 seed. How important was that, Coach?
Well, it is, but you know, I tell you, it goes to show you how difficult the NFL is in professional sports when you go on the road, where condition changes.
Right.
You playing in 80 degrees temperature in California, and you go to 20-some degree in Chicago. What a great change. And there was a different Rams team.
Could the Dallas loss, in hindsight, been the best thing to happen for the Saints? Because now they know how other teams look at their perceived, quote, weaknesses, and it also reinforces the fact that you got to put the hammer down at this point if you want the easiest path to another Super Bowl.
Well, losses are part of the NFL and professional sports, so you might as well accept it because any team can beat you on any given day.
Right.
And so you got to be prepared to accept it, move on. And I think the Saints have done that by coming back against Tampa the way they did in the second half. You can't really just cry sour milk and hope people can go easy on you.
Right.
They're not going to do it. But you know what? Saying that loss was good, I can't say it was.
Right.
But it certainly made them aware that they have to play better going down the stretch.
With the way the Saints look right now, excluding Drew Brees, this bodes really well for this franchise, doesn't it? Because actually, this is a young football team.
Well, you could say it's young, but the quarterback, the main person is not young.
Right, excluding Drew.
Exactly. So you're correct in your assessment. But, you know, quarterbacks are the key in the NFL. And just like defensive linemen and defensive cornerbacks, if you don't have them, you're not going to be successful.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
How tough is it going to be to beat Carolina 2 out of 3 weeks, even though Carolina's in the midst of a slump, but also understanding this is a division game?
Division games are extremely tough, but I think Cam Newton is hurt. He's not played very well.
Right.
He looks like he's hurt. So, but, you know, it's a Monday night game. They need to win. They need to win this game. And then they got Pittsburgh, which is going to be a tough game because Pittsburgh is in a bad situation where they need to win.
Yeah, yeah.
So you hate to play a team that's against the wall with their back against the wall.
If the Saints can win out, retain the #1 seed, how big an advantage are we talking about? Playing at home, sleeping in your own bed for every game, having some of the most rabid fans in the world screaming at opposing offenses for every snap of the ball. Can you put a premium on how valuable that #1 seed is, Coach?
#1 seed is very important, but at the NFL in playoff time, it has some value, but not a total amount of value because teams are going to prepare and come in to play, and every play will be big. So, but I like the fact that they're at home playing on their turf.
When we come back, we will wrap up this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Stay with us.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
My name is Dr. Ashley Blanche, chiropractic physician at Momentum Chiropractic and Sports Rehab. We are here to get you better faster if you suffer from any type of injury ranging from sprain and strain injuries to nerve pain. If you have an injury and you have a question about it or want us to evaluate you, please give us a call at 225-218-6126, or you can visit our website, mymomentumcare.com, for more information about our services.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagine big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other, 1 family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit Breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
Hi. For many years, I had to make tough decisions for my team and players. The decision for you is quite simple. If you have a house that is in need of repair, call my friend Dale. Dale buy houses. Recently, I spoke with Dale about my property. He gave me all of the do's and don'ts. He wanted me to be smart about the decision I was going to make. You ought to be smart too. Call Dale. He buy houses.
You don't have to understand the physics of flying to fly easy. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
Welcome back for the final segment of this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show, coming to you from Scoreboards, Baton Rouge's newest sports grill at the 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Coach, what are you having today? That's the etouffee on pasta?
Yes, not bad. I want to eat it while we're on TV, but
but you got to talk.
I have to talk.
You got to talk, Coach. And of course, I have the blackened shrimp pasta. And whatever you do, y'all, do not leave Scoreboards without trying the bread pudding. I'll give you a hint. There's a secret ingredient used in the bread pudding. I could tell you what it is, but you never see me again after that. So I like life and I like living. So come on out, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. You can ask guys, what's the secret ingredient that makes the bread pudding so awesome? But they're not going to tell you. But trust me, just enjoy it. That's all that matters. Coach, high school football championships now a done deal, and Baton Rouge has 2 state champs in U High and Zachary High. That's a heck of an achievement, isn't it?
No, it's very difficult to win championship to start with.
Right.
But when U High won it, and then Zachary came back to back and beat the #1 team in the state, West Monroe, that says a lot.
Yeah, and they're a perennial powerhouse is West Monroe. One of the things I love about high school athletics is the unpredictability of it all. Eunice High, my mom, late mother's hometown, the Bobcats, this year made their first appearance in the finals in 20 years, won their first state title in 36 years. You gotta love a story like that,
It's
Coach.
a great story, and the community just embrace, and it does so much to uplift them.
Yeah.
Especially a small community like you.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And of course we are in the thick of the holiday season right now, which means there are going to be all sorts of high school basketball tournaments taking part. That's a wonderful time. Get out and support the local high schools, but also see some teams you ordinarily might not get to see.
That's right, and there'll be a lot of good tournaments happening in the city that with some good players and good teams.
As you look back on your career, you ever wish you'd have stuck with basketball?
Not really. I think my career worked out as well as it could have. I got to school on a basketball scholarship, played baseball, and played professional baseball. I mean, it's never going to get any better than my life has been.
Yeah, well, personally, I'm glad that you went the route that you did.
Yes.
Baton Rouge and Southern University, the SWAC, and the nation is a lot richer because you pursued the avenue that you did. On behalf of the coach, the crew, and all the folks here at Scoreboards, I'm Clarence Buggs. We'll see you next week with another edition of the Roger Cador Show. See you then.